Go.
My name is Nico Johannessen, and this is my master thesis that I renewed this year. Just handed in a couple of months ago. It's about cryptoprocessing on the Arduino. Around about the time I started in August last year, there was a lot of these cases, which kind of inspired me to try to figure out what's going on here. Why isn't the data secure? I'm a student, I didn't know better, okay? So, just doing some analysis of the various statistics from the leaks. I'm sure you've all seen the statistics already, so I don't have to repeat myself. And started analyzing it. And I thought I knew this was going to be hard, but I hadn't expected it to be impossible. So, plan B. Started looking at best practices, basically. Using sources like this, NSA, ISO, and ESA, just to get an overview of what is the actual best practices in data protection within the industry.
National Security Agency and best practices in data security.
It's their own stuff, so of course they're gonna recommend the good stuff, kind of. Hence the use of the others as well. The basic essentials is basically first off, stream versus block ciphers. Stream ciphers, they're way too slow, they're faster, but they don't support authentication and cool stuff like that. I'm looking at asymmetric versus symmetric. Asymmetric is a slow one, so symmetric is the way to go for data if you're going to make it fast. Which leaves us with Advanced Encryption Standard, AES, and either of those two seems, the modes of operation seem to be the most common ones used, at least, or variations of them. So, crypto, it's a hard problem, but we got a lot of really smart people working on it, smarter than me at least, so it's to a certain degree at least solved problem. But the problem is, where do you put the key? You have to put the key where you do the actual encryption, and well, if you put it with the data, you might as well not bother. If they're going to run off with the user database, they're going to take the key with them. So, and kind of NIST says it's best, really. They don't even mention storing it with data or on any kind of general server at all. So the standard solution is these. They're really, really nice. They have a lot of cool hardware and support everything, and yeah, you can imagine. Do a lot of other crypto stuff, but I'm going to note that here. And as I said, they're amazingly cool, but they're expensive. I found one, the cheapest one I was able to find was like 10 grand. It's a bit on the pricey side if you're running a small business with a server in the back room. So with my thesis, what I set out to do was basically figure out, make a device that's inexpensive, fairly easy to use, and has the basic encryption function of a hardware security module, and basically key management, and by extension crypto processing. In an inexpensive device that this guy, yeah, okay, not that guy, this guy could use. And you know, having spent the summer toying around with the Arduino, it kind of quickly fell on this, which just happened to be released a couple of months after I started my thesis, which was, you know, practical. It has the first Arduino with a 30-bit CPU and an amazing 84 megahertz. As you can see, lots of RAM and sufficient storage. The most important features, however, in terms of security in this is what they call restricted mode. Is that if you enable it, once you put what they call a sketch, which is just an application on the Arduino, you can't download it again. And they require, for this model at least, that in order to upload a new sketch, you have to raise the flash storage. So you can't write a new sketch that reads off the rest of the memory and just dumps it back. So my thanks to NTNU and my thesis advisor, I got 2 of these to play with, and I started working on it. On the Arduino side, I used C. I'll get back to that one later. And I used a hand-optimized version of actual reference implementation, which was written by Richman when he handed in, or when they made the AS. And I figured I'm not going to be able to do that efficiently myself, so might as well use someone who knows what they're doing. On the client side, I ended up with Java and using that library called the Java Simple Serial Connector, which is pretty much the most simplest library I was able to find in terms of serial communication for the client. I started off by implementing cipher blockchain, or technically I implemented electronic code book, since I just put the actual ciphers encryption on the device. And yeah, ran it, tested it. Yeah, okay, that's not very fast. There was this point limit slow. Ended up being around 28, 29 kilobytes per second throughput, which, yeah, it's not impressive at all. So I spent a lot of time kind of scratching my head on that, at least, especially the tail end of that, which didn't really make sense, until I observed one little thing. There's a problem. Getting that communication link to use full speed of the USB turned out to be really hard. Ended up not being able to. Sending the data from the Arduino to the PC was near full speed, but the other way around, I just couldn't get it to kind of work at full speed. So I went back to the drawing board and came up with that. As you can see, it never touches the plaintext before the encryption, so you don't actually have to send the text up to the Arduino. You just send the initial state, and then let the Arduino just spit out tokens that you can use on the server side. Which, if you have that, you could also extend it into that favorite mode of all, it seems, which is color counter mode, which also has a function or provides a tag that authenticates the data, which is nice. And I ended up with this, which is a lot better, but it's not terribly fast either. Comparing the two, I basically get this, which it's not going to be able to do full disk encryption, but 241 kilobytes per second, you can handle pretty big user database with that, since most entries aren't going to be over 500 kilobytes anyways, so, or 500 bytes for that matter. And I was moderately satisfied at least. And kind of a few observations along the way. First of all, I started off implementing the whole thing in Python on the PC side, and Python is really slow. Appending to lists in Python over a large data set is really not a good idea. So I ended up having to spend a lot of time just porting over to Java again. Arduino labels itself as C++ and C. Unfortunately, it really isn't. It lacks a few essential libraries that's available in C, which means that most of the crypto libraries I actually found couldn't really be used there, because I would have to rewrite the entire library to kind of pluck out the libraries that just weren't available for the Arduino. And also, manual communicating of 0, it's harder than it looks. Though, after reading a few standards, I'd rather do that. So, any questions? Yeah?
Have you a chance to look at the UBH itself? It's just the USB whistle that supports some crypto and it costs about $500.
I looked at that and it showed promise, but I don't remember exactly why I kind of ruled it out as an option. But ended up not being.
So, anyway, I'm just a little bit scared about deciding to implement in ECB mode because it's never be used.
Yeah, you leave the kind of mode operation up to the PC side of things rather than running it on the Arduino, which has a limited speed of the CPU. So you can, using ECB mode and counter mode, together either of those, you can implement most crypto modes of operation. And you can basically get it. You just need to do the actual crypto and the key management on the Arduino. And the modes of operations kind of fall into the role of the PC side. Yeah?
So you say to get the key string, you have to upload the state, you have to start from the device, right? So what is the state like? Or really what my biggest you have like a hard-coded key?
Yeah, for my experience, I used a hard-coded key. Of course, you can upload it, you can actually generate it on the device. It's not a time-critical operation, so you have the luxury of being able to do that on the device. But since you have the flash operation, you have to erase the flash every time you upload a new sketch. Hard-coding the key isn't really a problem, in terms of security at least.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you.